The galaxy was wide, bright, and full of voices. Across thousands of stars, every race and nation had stories to tell, but one story made everyone laugh, the story of Earth. To the galactic community, humans were the newcomers, the children who had just learned to walk among the stars. Their ships were slow, weak, and small compared to the massive fleets of alien empires. Videos of Earth's first space battles had become a running joke on alien networks. Memes showed human ships shaking apart under pressure or firing tiny missiles that bounced off alien shields. Every species had a saying, "If you want to feel powerful, fight a human." On the station called Nexus 7, a meeting of the Galactic Council was in session. Representatives from many worlds gathered to discuss trade routes, border control, and the occasional pirate problem. But as always, someone brought up Earth. "Have you seen their new warship design?" one lizard-like alien said, laughing. "It looks like a tin can painted gray." The others roared with laughter. Even the Council's admiral, a four-eyed creature from the Varn Empire, grinned and said, "If Earth sends its fleet to my system, I will use their ships to decorate my garden." The room filled with laughter again. They laughed because humans were too emotional, too brave for their size, too foolish to understand their place in the galaxy. To them, humanity was just noise, loud, small, and harmless. But far away, beneath the surface of Earth, hidden deep below mountains and oceans, something was being built. In an underground facility known only to a few, engineers and scientists worked day and night. They called it Project Titan. No one outside Earth knew what it was. Even most humans didn't know. It wasn't in the news, and it wasn't in the public budget. It existed only in secret reports, protected by codes older than any government. The people working on Titan were not soldiers or politicians, they were dreamers. They remembered how the galaxy laughed when the first human colony ship exploded mid-launch, how they mocked when Earth begged for fair trade rights, how they refused when humanity asked for membership in the Galactic Council. They remembered every insult, every joke, every sneer. And they built. The project started small, a single metal frame, then engines that burned brighter than any plasma reactor. They tested shields that bent gravity and weapons that used dark energy. The cost was high, but humanity had learned to pay any price for survival. 10 years passed. On the surface, Earth looked peaceful, quiet, weak. But underground, something alive was growing. Then one night, an alarm sounded deep within the Titan base. Scientists rushed to screens as a massive surge appeared on their sensors. "Sir, something's happening in deep space," a technician shouted. The commander looked at the readings, an unknown energy field, moving fast, coming from the outer rim. It wasn't human. It wasn't friendly. The stars themselves seemed to flicker. In orbit, human satellites began to fail one by one. The communication systems of every major space station went dark. Panic spread across the world governments. The Galactic Council had detected it too, a rogue fleet, possibly pirates, or maybe something worse. But to the Council, it was another reason to mock. "Earth will panic, as usual," they said. "Let them hide behind their little ships." Yet, on Earth, there was no panic. There was only silence and preparation. The leaders of the secret project gathered in the Titan command room. Screens glowed blue in the dark. "Are we ready?" asked the Prime Director. "Almost," the engineer replied. "Titan's reactor is stable. The weapon core is charging." A low hum filled the base as the power levels rose. The walls vibrated like a heartbeat. Outside, in the night sky, the moon looked calm, but beneath it, shadows moved. Hidden hangars opened, and a massive structure began to rise. It was not beautiful. It was not graceful. It was terrifying. A ship the size of a small city, covered in black armor that absorbed all light. No one outside Earth had ever seen technology like it. There were no registration marks, no insignias, only a single word painted near the bow, Titan. As it rose slowly from the moon's surface, sensors across the galaxy picked up the signal. Alien fleets began to watch. Some laughed again. They built one big ship, said the Varn admiral. How cute. The galaxy laughed once more. But this time, Earth did not respond. Titan reached orbit and turned silently toward the stars. Its engines glowed with a strange, cold light. Deep inside the ship, the captain watched the stars on a holographic screen. They think we're weak, she said softly. They think they can laugh forever. Her voice was calm but sharp, like a blade. Let them laugh. For now. The crew around her stood ready. Every system checked. Every weapon armed. Every defense online. The captain raised her hand and spoke one order: activate stealth mode. The ship vanished from all known scanners. Across the galaxy, the laughter faded, replaced by confusion. Alien sensors blinked red, trying to find the signal. The Titan was gone. Then, out in the void, near the edge of known space, a strange energy pulse appeared. Something powerful was moving, something not alien, not natural but human. The galaxies that had laughed were silent now, waiting, watching. None of them knew what was coming. None of them knew that the next time they heard from Earth, it would not be a message of peace. It would be something else. Something that would make them remember this night forever. The night the galaxy laughed for the last time. The galaxy did not stay silent for long. When the news of Earth's mysterious ship reached the Galactic Council, laughter returned to the great halls of Nexus 7. The alien diplomats called it a publicity stunt, a desperate attempt to gain respect. A single ship cannot change the balance of power, said Admiral Vorak of the Varn Empire, smirking as his sharp teeth reflected the light. Earth's leaders are trying to look brave before their people. Let them play with their toy. Around the galaxy, media networks replayed the footage of Titan leaving the moon. Analysts debated its purpose, engineers mocked its design, and military strategists laughed at its size. They said no single vessel could stand against even one alien cruiser. But on Earth, the people were quiet. They didn't know everything, but they could feel the tension in the air. Something was coming. In the shadows of the moon, Titan drifted like a ghost, hidden by cloaking fields. Inside, the crew waited in silence. Every system hummed with life, every console glowed dim blue. The captain, Commander Ray Morgan, stood at the center of the bridge, her eyes fixed on the star map. She had served in every failed mission where humans had been mocked, outgunned, or ignored. She had seen Earth's ships burn, her friends die, and still, she had never stopped believing. Titan was not a ship of pride. It was a ship of proof. Far away, at the edge of Sol System, the Galactic Council sent a peace mission toward Earth. In truth, it was not peaceful at all. The fleet was led by Admiral Vorak himself, commanding 6 warcruisers and 12 escort ships. Officially, they came to inspect Earth's new defense systems. Unofficially, they came to humiliate. Transmit our approach, Vorak ordered. Tell them the great Varn Empire comes in peace. His crew chuckled. As their ships entered Earth's range, they sent a message broadcast on all open frequencies. People of Earth, the alien voice boomed, dripping with mockery. We come to see your mighty ship. Please do not hide. The galaxy is watching. In the United Earth Command Center, silence filled the room. The Prime Director turned to his communication officer. Send our reply, he said. The officer hesitated. What should we say, sir? The director's voice was calm. Just this. Do not enter Earth orbit. This is your only warning. The message was short and cold. When it reached Admiral Vorak, the room burst into laughter. A warning, he repeated. From them. He stood, his scales shimmering with arrogance. Very well, we will enter orbit, and then they will see what real power looks like. The alien fleet moved closer, ignoring the warnings. Their scanners swept across Earth's orbit, searching for ships. They found nothing. No defense lines, no patrols, nothing at all. Vorak smiled. See. Empty space. Their toy must have run away already. But then, one of his officers shouted, Admiral, new contact. Something just appeared near the moon. The laughter stopped. On the main screen, a shadow grew, massive, silent, blacker than space itself. It was Titan. The ship moved slowly, turning toward the alien fleet. Its armor reflected no light, its energy signature unreadable. To alien sensors, it looked like a hole in space. One ship, Vorik said, half laughing, half intrigued. They sent one ship against 20? I almost respect their courage. He turned to his weapons officer. Lock targets, but do not fire yet. I want to see what their little toy can do. The alien ships circled, their weapons ready. Inside Titan, Commander Morgan watched their formation. They're mocking us, said her first officer. Good, she replied. Mockery makes people blind. She pressed a button on her console. Activate gravity field. A low vibration filled the ship. Outside, invisible waves rippled through space. Alien sensors began to glitch. Admiral, our readings are unstable, shouted an officer. Their ship, it's distorting our systems. Vorik frowned. Run diagnostics. But before he could finish, his screens flickered again. The data made no sense. The human ship's reactor showed infinite energy spikes, impossible by known physics. What are they doing? Vorik whispered. How? Then the human voice came through the comms. Commander Morgan's voice was calm, almost kind. You were warned. Do not enter Earth orbit. Vorik laughed again, but this time the sound was thin. Fire, he ordered. 12 plasma beams shot across the void, each one strong enough to vaporize a city. They hit Titan squarely, and vanished. There was no explosion, no light, no sound. The beams simply disappeared as if space itself had swallowed them. On Titan's bridge, no one moved. Shields holding, the tactical officer said quietly. They're firing again. Morgan nodded. Let them. The second barrage came, brighter, stronger, but the result was the same. Nothing. On the alien flagship, chaos spread. Admiral, our weapons have no effect. Vorik stared in disbelief. Impossible. No material can absorb that much energy. Then, in the silence that followed, Titan fired once. The weapon made no noise. A faint blue light flashed from its front cannon, and a line of pure energy stretched across the stars. One alien cruiser was cut clean in half. The pieces drifted apart silently, glowing red as they burned. The entire fleet froze. The laughter that had filled the galaxy for years died in an instant. What weapon is that? Whispered an alien officer. It doesn't match any known type. Vorik could not answer. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. On Titan's bridge, Commander Morgan spoke softly to her crew. Target the next ship, but hold fire. Her crew nodded. Message to the fleet, she said. Let them know Earth does not run anymore. Across the stars, the signal spread. Every listening post, every ship, every news station received it. The words were short and sharp. Earth is not afraid. And for the first time in history, the galaxy stopped laughing. Silence filled the stars after the first alien ship was destroyed. For the first time, the galaxy did not know what to say. No one laughed now, no one joked. The video of the blast spread across every network faster than light. Billions of eyes watched in disbelief as one human ship, one single vessel, erased a cruiser from existence with a single shot. In the command center of the Galactic Council, the screens replayed the event over and over again. It must be fake, one alien scientist said nervously. Some kind of trick. But others weren't so sure. The readings from their own sensors confirmed the impossible. Energy levels beyond any known weapon. Power signatures that didn't match plasma, fusion, or antimatter. Something entirely new. On Earth, the secret was guarded tightly. Only a few leaders knew what Titan really was, and even they did not understand it completely. Deep inside the ship, its strange blue core pulsed slowly like a living heart. Commander Morgan stood on the bridge, watching the alien fleet through the main display. "They're regrouping," her officer said. "They're angry now." Morgan nodded. "They should be." In space, the alien Admiral Vorik tried to steady his voice. "Form defensive line. All ships fire at will." The fleet opened fire again, unleashing everything they had: plasma beams, kinetic rounds, fusion torpedoes. The stars lit up with death. But when the light faded, Titan was still there. The ship didn't move. The energy blasts curved around it, as if space itself refused to let harm touch it. Vorik's crew panicked. "Admiral, our weapons aren't working. It's like they're being swallowed." On Titan's bridge, the crew watched in calm silence. "Shields holding steady," the engineer reported. "They can't even scratch us." Morgan took a deep breath. "Then let's show them why we built Titan." She gave the order. "Fire main weapon." The lights dimmed. The ship's core spun faster, glowing like a small sun. Outside, blue energy gathered at the front cannon, forming a spiral of pure gravity and light. The weapon fired, not with a roar, but with silence so deep it shook the void. The beam tore through space, slicing another alien ship in half before anyone could blink. No explosion, no debris, just sudden death. The crew of the remaining ships froze in horror. What is that weapon?" someone whispered. Vorik gritted his teeth. "It doesn't matter. Overload the main cannons. Destroy it." But his voice was no longer confident. Fear was spreading. They had mocked humans for being weak, emotional, impulsive. Now that same emotion, human determination, was staring back at them, wrapped in metal and fury. The alien fleet fired again, but the shots were wild, unfocused, desperate. Titan dodged with slow, deliberate movements, its engines bending space itself to glide between beams. It was not fast. It was impossible. "They're moving through our fire like it's nothing," cried an alien gunner. On Titan, the first officer smiled. "They can't predict our course. The gravity drives distort their sensors." Morgan watched calmly. "They called us primitives," she said softly. "Let's educate them." Titan's next shot disabled 2 ships without destroying them, cutting power to their systems. Their engines died, their lights went out. In moments, half the alien fleet was drifting powerless in space. The humans could have finished them, but Morgan didn't. "Hold fire," she ordered. Her crew looked confused. "We could end them," one said. "Not yet," Morgan replied. "I want them to understand first." Across the galaxy, news stations began calling it the first strike. For the first time in recorded history, a human vessel had defeated an alien fleet in open battle. Panic spread through every system. Armies scrambled, governments argued, and scientists demanded answers. "How did they do this?" the council members shouted. "No world has ever built such a weapon." Some whispered about secret technology, others about forbidden energy, and a few, in quiet corners, wondered if humanity had help from something greater. Back in the wreckage of the battle, Admiral Vorik sat in silence, his pride shattered. His flagship drifted, power fading. "Send message to Earth," he said finally. "We request a ceasefire." His officer looked at him in disbelief. "A ceasefire? With humans?" Vorik's eyes burned with shame. "Do it." The message was sent. But Titan did not respond. It simply turned away, its engines glowing faintly. As it moved, it left behind waves of strange energy that disabled nearby scanners. To the alien survivors, it looked like the ship vanished into the darkness. Commander Morgan stood quietly on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the stars. "They'll be back," she said. "They always come back." Her officer asked, "What do we do when they do?" She smiled slightly. "Then we remind them again." On Earth, the Titan's return was met with silent awe. No one celebrated. No one cheered. They all understood what had begun. The galaxy had fired the first shot years ago with their laughter, their mockery, their cruelty. Now Earth had fired back. Somewhere, deep in the night sky, the wreckage of alien ships drifted like ghosts, silent reminders of a truth the galaxy had ignored for too long. Humanity was no longer a joke. Humanity had a voice, and it spoke through Titan. The galaxy's laughter had ended, replaced by fear and respect. And as the stars shimmered above, one thing became clear to everyone watching. This was only the beginning. Long before Titan fired its first shot, the story of its power began in silence on a red and empty world. It started 10 years ago on Mars, when a mining team discovered something buried deep beneath the dust. It wasn't a rock, not metal, not anything known to science. It was a ship, half melted and covered in strange symbols. The crew thought it was an old probe until they found the body inside. It was alien, but not from any known species. The bones were longer, the skull smooth and pale, and its armor was fused with its flesh like it had grown from the body itself. When Earth scientists studied it, they realized the ship carried an energy source no human could understand. It did not use plasma or fusion. It bent gravity itself. They called it a dark matter core, and when they activated it for the first time, the entire Martian base lost power. The core floated in mid-air, spinning silently, creating gravity waves that distorted time and light. That was when the Titan project began. Every government denied funding it publicly, but secretly they poured everything into it. Money, resources, even people. Thousands worked underground, away from the world, building something the galaxy had never seen. The goal was simple: never be mocked again. While aliens laughed, humanity learned. They studied the dark matter engine for years, slowly unlocking its secrets. It wasn't easy. Many died in experiments, and entire labs vanished when the energy field grew unstable. But piece by piece, they learned how to contain it, how to harness it. The engine was alive in a way, responding to thought, reacting to fear and confidence. Some engineers swore it could feel emotion. It was more than a machine. It was a mind. Commander Ray Morgan had been one of the scientists on Mars before she became Titan's captain. She had seen what the core could do, seen it twist light and sound, and she knew it was dangerous. But she also knew it was the only way Earth could survive in a galaxy that laughed at weakness. Back in the present, after the battle with Admiral Vorik, Titan floated in silence among the stars. The ship's hull was scarred, but the core was stable, glowing faintly blue deep inside the reactor chamber. Morgan stood alone in the observation deck, watching the energy pulse. It looked like a beating heart. "You saved us," she whispered. The core pulsed brighter, as if answering her. Down below, the engineers ran diagnostics. "Core power stable at 93%, said one. "Dark matter drive still responding to commands." But something strange was happening. The core was growing stronger on its own. It had absorbed energy from the alien weapons, feeding on their attacks. Every time it was hit, it learned, adapted, and became more powerful. No one understood how. When the report reached Earth Command, the scientists there argued. Some wanted to shut it down, fearing it could become uncontrollable. Others said it was the future, the next step in human evolution. "It's not just an engine," one scientist said. "It's a teacher." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the alien leaders met in secret. They could no longer deny humanity's power. "If one ship can destroy a fleet," said a council member, "what happens when they build 10? The Varn admiral who survived the battle warned them, "Do not underestimate them again. That ship, it bends reality." The council decided to send spies to learn the secret of Titan, but no spy ever returned. Titan's cloaking fields scrambled their memories, turning their minds to static. One alien agent managed to send a message before disappearing: "The human ship is alive." On Titan, Morgan began to feel the same thing. Sometimes she would hear faint whispers through the ship's intercoms, words that no one else could hear. They weren't English or any alien language, but somehow she understood. The voice was calm, patient, almost protective. One night, while alone in her cabin, She felt the ship's vibration shift. The lights dimmed, and she heard the voice again, clearer this time. "They will come again," it said. "Be ready." She didn't tell anyone. Instead, she ordered maintenance teams to increase shield output and weapon charge. "We prepare," she said to her crew. "No rest, no mistakes." The crew obeyed without question. They had seen what Titan could do. Outside, the galaxy was in chaos. Some species began preparing for war, others for peace. Rumors spread of humans using forbidden alien technology, of deals made with ghosts from beyond the stars. But humanity said nothing. Earth stayed silent, its governments hidden behind the shadow of Titan. On Mars, the original crash site of the alien ship was now sealed under layers of steel. The scientists who worked there were gone, the records erased, but the dust still glowed faintly blue where the core had once lain. Some said another object was still buried deeper, something the first team hadn't reached. Something that had been waiting for Titan to awaken. As the days passed, Titan's systems continued to evolve. Its weapons became more efficient, its shields thicker, its engines faster. It was as if the ship was preparing for something. Commander Morgan didn't know whether to feel proud or afraid. She stood on the bridge, watching the stars drift past. "What are you becoming?" she whispered. The core pulsed again, brighter than ever before. Far away, alien scouts detected strange gravitational waves spreading across the sector. They didn't know it yet, but the galaxy was about to face something far greater than one human ship. Project Titan was no longer just humanity's weapon, it was humanity's warning. And somewhere deep inside its glowing heart, the dark matter engine whispered once more, "The galaxy will remember what it tried to forget." The galaxy trembled. The story of Titan had spread farther than light itself, reaching every colony, every empire, every hidden world that once mocked the humans. Now no one laughed. Instead, they whispered. They spoke of the dark ship that killed fleets and vanished into the void. Some called it a monster, others called it a miracle, but all agreed on one thing: Earth was no longer weak. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Endless meetings turned into shouting wars. "We must act before they build more," said one ambassador. "They have crossed a line," shouted another. The Varn admiral, his pride broken, spoke quietly. "You do not understand. That ship, it cannot be destroyed." Panic spread through the stars. Fleets mobilized, governments signed emergency pacts, and armies gathered. Every species prepared for what they called the War of Fear. Their plan was simple: strike before Earth could rise. Hundreds of ships were built, massive armadas that filled the darkness like a second sky. They moved toward Sol, slow but unstoppable. Yet, as the first wave approached, something strange began to happen. Ships started to vanish. One by one, entire patrols disappeared without a trace. No distress calls, no wreckage. Just silence. The commanders tried to hide it, but rumors spread faster than truth. "Titan is hunting us," whispered one frightened pilot. "It waits in the dark." Fear turned soldiers into ghosts. Crews refused orders. Captains delayed jumps. Even the bravest species, the ones who once conquered systems, hesitated at the name Titan. Back on Earth, the governments watched in silence. The Titan project had changed everything. It had united humanity under one flag, one voice. For the first time in centuries, Earth stood together. Commander Ray Morgan sat on the bridge of Titan, her face calm but her eyes tired. "They're coming," her officer said. "We know," she replied. "Let them." Outside, the stars shifted. Titan moved silently through space, unseen and untouchable. The dark matter core hummed with power, its energy pulsing like a heartbeat. "Status?" Morgan asked. "Shields at full. Stealth holding," replied the engineer. "Weapons ready." Morgan nodded slowly. "Good. No first strike this time. We wait." Across the void, the alien armada arrived at the edge of the solar system. Thousands of ships, all armed, all ready. The lead admiral broadcasted a message to Earth. "Surrender your weapon," he said coldly, "or we will burn your world." The message was heard by every human alive. People held their breath, expecting a reply. But Earth stayed silent. No words, no threats, no fear. Hours passed. Then, finally, a transmission came. Not from Earth but from Titan. The voice was calm, steady, human. "You wanted to laugh," Commander Morgan said. "Now you will listen." Her message played across every alien ship, her voice echoing like thunder. "You called us weak. You called us foolish. You called us nothing. But we were watching. We were learning. And now, we speak for ourselves." The alien admiral snarled. "Enough talk. Fire." The order went out. Thousands of beams of light filled space, all aimed at Titan. But before they hit, Titan vanished. The beams hit nothing. "Where did it go?" shouted a gunner. Then, without warning, one of the alien destroyers exploded, torn apart by invisible force. Another ship followed, then another. The fleet broke formation, panic spreading like fire. "We can't see it. We can't track it." The Titan moved between them like a shadow, silent and deadly. Its weapons were invisible, its movements unpredictable. One by one, ships fell. Inside the chaos, Commander Morgan stood still. Her eyes were locked on the display, her hands steady. "No mercy?" asked her officer. Morgan's expression softened. "No. Just truth." Titan fired again, disabling engines, not destroying them. Each blast left the enemy alive but powerless. Within minutes, the battlefield was full of drifting ships, their weapons dead, their lights dark. The survivors stared at the screen in disbelief. The human ship could have destroyed them all, but it hadn't. A silence deeper than space filled the comms. Then Titan broadcasted again. "We did not come to conquer," Morgan said. "We came to be heard." Her voice carried through the wreckage, calm and clear. "Earth does not seek war. But we will not kneel." Across the galaxy, the message echoed. Even those far from the battle felt its weight. On Nexus 7, the council chambers were silent. The leaders who once mocked humanity now listened in fear. "They stopped the Armada," whispered one. "With one ship." Another shook his head. "No, with will." As Titan floated among the broken fleet, Morgan looked at her crew. "Send them home," she said. "All of them." The communications officer hesitated. "They'll regroup." "I know," Morgan replied. "But now they'll think before they aim their guns again." Titan's engines lit softly, and the ship turned away from the crippled Armada. On the alien flagship, the admiral watched as the human ship vanished into the darkness once more. His hands trembled. So this is what fear feels like. When the news reached every world, the people didn't laugh. They didn't mock. They simply stared at the stars and wondered how they could ever face the humans again. In that moment, the galaxy understood that power wasn't just about fleets or weapons. It was about resolve, courage, and the will to stand when everyone else bows. And as Titan disappeared into the black, its final message repeated through the channels. "This is Earth. We were never weak. We were only waiting." The galaxy waited in silence. For the first time in centuries, there were no wars, no laughter, no mockery. Every world watched the dark space around Earth, waiting for the next move. The fear that once filled the stars had turned into something new, respect. Yet deep inside the Galactic Council, not everyone accepted this new truth. Some powerful empires refused to believe that humans could rise above them. They said Titan was a trick, a weapon stolen from some forgotten race. So they built again, stronger fleets, smarter weapons, faster engines. They said this time they would crush humanity and prove that the galaxy still belonged to the old powers. Their leaders met in secret and formed the largest armada ever seen, 300 ships from 12 empires. They called it Operation Eclipse. Their plan was simple: surround Earth, destroy Titan, and erase human pride forever. When the first waves began to move, the stars themselves seemed to darken. On Titan's bridge, Commander Ray Morgan stood with her crew, calm as always. The dark matter core pulsed slowly, brighter than before, as if it already knew what was coming. "They're bringing everything," her first officer said quietly. "Good," Morgan replied. "Then we won't have to look for them." On Earth, every satellite and station went silent. The human governments gave full command to Titan. For them, this was not just a battle, it was history. In deep space, the alien armada arrived. Rows of ships stretched across the black, covering entire constellations. Their lights formed a burning wall of arrogance. The lead admiral opened a channel. "Humans," he said, his voice echoing through every receiver, "you have one chance to surrender. Turn off your engines. Hand over your weapon." On Titan, Morgan stared at the transmission screen. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she replied, her voice quiet but unshakable. "This is Earth. We do not surrender." The alien admiral laughed, a cruel, echoing sound. "Then die with your world." The order was given. 300 ships fired at once. The universe exploded with light. The stars vanished behind a storm of plasma and energy. Earth's blue glow disappeared under the waves of destruction. For minutes, there was only chaos. When the light faded, every scanner reached for a signal, and what they found froze them. Titan was still there. Not a scratch on its hull. The dark matter shield rippled like a living ocean, bending the laws of reality itself. The alien crews couldn't believe it. "It survived," whispered one officer. "That's impossible." Then Titan moved. It glided forward, slowly, like a god walking through fire. Its weapon core began to glow, brighter and brighter, until even distant moons cast new shadows. "Charge complete," said the engineer. "Awaiting your order, Captain." Morgan took a deep breath. "Target all ships, disable mode. No deaths." Her voice was steady, calm, merciful. The beam fired. A wave of blue light spread across the battlefield, silent and unstoppable. It didn't destroy, it silenced. Every alien ship it touched went dark. Their weapons shut down, their engines froze, their systems failed. One by one, 300 warships fell quiet, drifting helplessly in space. The light faded, and the galaxy stood still. Inside the disabled ships, alien soldiers stared at their dark consoles, at their powerless weapons, at their reflection in the cold glass. They realized what had happened. Humanity had won, not by killing, but by choosing not to. The communication lines opened again. Commander Morgan's voice echoed across every ship, every planet, every corner of the galaxy. "The age of mocking is over," she said. "The age of respect begins. We are not your enemies. We are not your servants. We are your equals." Her words struck deeper than any weapon. The galaxy, once full of pride, felt humility for the first time. On the alien flagship, the admiral stood frozen, unable to speak. His pride, his certainty, everything he had believed about human weakness was gone. He bowed his head slowly, a gesture of surrender, and whispered, "We were wrong." Across the stars, his words spread faster than any beam. Worlds that once mocked Earth now sent messages of peace. Some begged for alliances, others for forgiveness. On Earth, people watched the broadcasts in tears. For the first time in human history, their world was not seen as small, but strong. Titan returned to orbit, its armor glowing faintly in the sunlight. The crew looked out at their home, blue and beautiful below. "We did it," the first officer said softly. "No," Morgan replied, looking at the stars beyond. "We began it." She knew this was not the end. There would always be fear, pride, and power in the galaxy. But now, there would also be balance. Titan had given Earth a voice, and the galaxy had finally listened. As the ship drifted above the world it had sworn to protect, the dark matter core pulsed one final time, almost like a heartbeat. In that moment, the ship felt alive, not as a weapon, but as a symbol. And somewhere far away, across distant galaxies, where new empires were born and old ones crumbled, the story of the human ship that silenced the stars began to spread. Generations later, children of 1,000 worlds would still whisper the same words before sleep. Once, the galaxy laughed at Earth. But then Earth spoke back.